came in the 17th century, when René Descartes applied a scientific methodology to the philosophical investigation of the world and the nature of human perception and understanding. As well as pioneering what became the philosophy of mind, the relationship between mind and body, he established a rationalist approach to philosophy that contrasted with the empirical tradition that was emerging with his contemporary Thomas Hobbes, a distinction between continental and Anglo-Saxon philosophy that continued well into the 20th century. While the metaphysical and epistemological debate between French rationalism and British empiricism continued in the 18th century, there were also profound political and social changes across Europe. The old order was being toppled in revolutions in France and America, inspired by philosophers such as Rousseau and Locke, and the fruit of scientific advances was being felt in the Industrial Revolution too. The new social order demanded a fresh approach to political and moral philosophy. British philosophers, in particular, responded to the practical challenges of modern industrialized society in the 19th century, establishing a tradition of social and economic liberalism with its roots in the ethics of utilitarianism. In Germany, however, where industrialization was slower to materialize, Immanuel Kant's comprehensive philosophical system of metaphysics, epistemology, and ethics inspired a century of German idealist philosophers, including Georg Hegel and Arthur Schopenhauer, which culminated in the iconoclastic moral philosophy of Friedrich Nietzsche. The divide between Britain and mainland Europe became even more marked in the 20th century, as Bertrand Russell and then Ludwig Wittgenstein took a rigorously logical and analytical approach to philosophical inquiry, while continental philosophers such as Edmund Husserl and Martin Heidegger adopted a more subjective approach which would pave the way for existentialists such as Jean-Paul Sartre. In recent times, science has appeared to answer many of the problems of metaphysics, epistemology, and the philosophy of mind, but this still leaves room for philosophers to ponder some fundamental questions of life and the nature of the universe, and to examine the philosophical basis of science itself. Throughout the ages, philosophers have not simply wondered, but have used their capacity for rational thinking to come up with explanations and arguments that give remarkable insights into the world and our place in it. Many of these ideas have had far-reaching implications, inspiring other thinkers to develop them further or to present counter-arguments, but also shaping the beliefs and cultures that followed. Philosophy, like the arts, is a reflection of the time and place it originates in, and the philosophers behind these ideas were not simply extraordinary thinkers, but also products of the cultures in which they lived. Each philosopher has brought something new to the world of ideas, and, perhaps just as important in the gestation of those ideas, is the individual personality of the thinker, him or herself. The very different characters become apparent through their work, both in the ideas themselves and in the way they are expressed. Socrates, for example, comes across as more than a little mischievous in his pursuit of truth, while Plato is altogether more serious and mystical, and Aristotle down-to-earth and methodical. Others, such as Kant, present persuasive arguments, but give little away of their personality, or, like Schopenhauer, soften the pessimism of their philosophy with a charming literary style. Knowing something about the life and times of these thinkers is helpful in understanding their ideas, where they came from, and the impact they had at the time, but also the attitudes they had to life that they brought to their work, and the life experiences that shaped their individual characters. Sometimes this knowledge will confirm, sometimes contradict our sympathy with a particular philosopher, and may even prompt a reappraisal of his or her work. In any case, it makes for fascinating reading. Forward by Simon Blackburn. There are many academic pursuits we use to investigate ourselves and our world.